Is Congressman Devin Nunes. He's ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. He is author of the important book, Countdown to Socialism, available now online in bookstores everywhere, and we recommend it to you highly. Congressman, great to have you with us. We want to turn first to the intelligence report. I was talking about it early on this broadcast, about the gun box, the safe in which your 2017 report, the Republican report on the intelligence community assessment, resides. And we understand from some reporting that there is a Republican, or there is a group of Republicans on the Intelligence Committee who are not in agreement about declassifying intelligence and moving it into public view. Can you clear that up for us?
Yeah, Lou, thank you for asking. This is typical what we've seen over the last 4 years, where there's essentially a disinformation operation that's run by the deep state. So the deep state doesn't want this report out. They fought us all along. This was a report that we actually had turned over. It was an investigative referral, criminal referral, I might add at this point, that went to the Inspector General. That was when I was still chairman. So this has already been a couple of years ago. I can assure you, there is not a Republican that's been on our Intelligence Committee. We've spent hundreds of hours out there in the so-called gun safe, as you call it, the safe within a safe, which, by the way, that was all a leak from the deep state, from the agencies themselves that actually leaked the idea of that room being there. Nobody had ever talked about it before, because you have a bunch of people who were involved in the creation of this report. This was done commissioned by Obama at the end of the Obama administration, that came out with these hysterical findings that that the Russians were trying to help Trump. It also had in there the incredulous PP dossier, the dossier that the Clinton campaign had paid for. So I can assure you, there's not a Republican within 100 miles of any deep state bureaucracy that's involved with us that doesn't want this out. I think what you're seeing is that the Democrats are working with deep state operatives to put out disinformation, which we've come to expect that over the last few years, as you can imagine.
You've seen it. You've had an important role in its creation. Give us a sense of just how bad that report is.
Well, what it is that we actually found initially the information that we were actually the ones to review. If you remember this, it seems like it's been many moons ago. But if you recall the Brennan notes, the Brennan notes that came out that showed that that Obama and Biden had been briefed on the fact that people knew that the Clinton campaign was essentially spreading disinformation and they were going to make up this lie about Russia. At the same time, we had reviewed that so-called Struck report that had went to the Crossfire Hurricane team. So we had actually found that. We were lied to about that. Now we find out later we were lied to about that, but there was no question. I mean, look, it's preposterous. At the very beginning of this, people asked me, how did you know that this was fake? Well, I knew it was fake because out of 200 countries in the world, you had to believe that Vladimir Putin, with one of the most sophisticated intelligence agencies in the world, a former KGB agent himself, was smarter than every pollster in the United States of America, every pollster around the world, every intelligence agency, every foreign embassy. Not one thought that Donald Trump was going to win. And in fact, there were very few Republicans in the United States, and including senators and congressmen, who thought that Donald Trump was going to win. Right. So you had to start with the fact that Putin would have run this crazy operation to try to get Trump elected. It was ridiculous from the beginning. The fact that Obama, the FBI had briefed us shortly after the election that the Russians had done their normal thing that everybody expected them to do. There was nothing that was out of the ordinary. And then lo and behold, like in a matter of just a few days, the intelligence agencies put together this, report that says that, oh yeah, Vladimir Putin was trying to help Trump. And then don't forget, then they add in there the P-tape, which is essentially the only thing that P-tape was based off of. Now that we're looking back on it, or the Bidens. Biden's the only one that was involved with prostitutes and all kinds of crazy things in Moscow. So I think the Clintons and Fusion GPS actually just listened to Hunter Biden, must have been on his laptop and said, boy, this would be a great story to make up about the Trump campaign and Republicans. I'm being a little bit sarcastic here, Lou, but you get my point. The bottom line is that this should be made public. All the deep state bureaucrats should let this, and they should want this to be out. If you're an analyst within the intelligence agencies, the last thing you would want to be tied to is this ridiculous P-tapes in Moscow.
And we now know the characterization of it. We know that the president has authorized the attorney general, has authorized the director of national intelligence, the Attorney General, William Barr, the DNI, John Radcliffe, to declassify it and move on it. But it hasn't happened. If it doesn't happen in the next day or two, would you recommend to the president that he walk over to the CIA, tell everyone that he wants to take a look at what is in the gun safe, and he would like to have it, and walk out the door with it?
The answer is, do I want the president to go down to one of these agencies and look at this? No, I do not. And you know why? Because the president needs to be out there and win this election. If it's a matter of the president having time to do another rally, I want the president out doing another rally in a state that he can win. The bottom line is this, Lou. They have tried to cover up. They've tried to cover up this whole Russia fiasco. They pretend like it doesn't exist. Biden's still getting away with calling this Russian disinformation. But I've got news for them. I've seen now several polls that show that every Republican in the United States knows about the laptop from hell. And I think the more the president's out there talking about, number one, what he's done, number two, what he's going to do in the next administration, and number three, holding these corrupt figures accountable, whether it's Hunter Biden and the money that he got from Moscow, or whether it's all the people within the DOJ and FBI that were frustrated haven't been busted. He needs to focus on that.
Congressman, are you saying you don't think the report would turn a substantial number of voters?
Well, look, I think those voters are already with us because the mainstream media, the propaganda arm of the left, they've ignored this. So unless the mainstream media was going to somehow miraculously change their tune, look, this is something that the American people should see. I want it out there. But I think at this stage in the game, we're 8 days away from the election. Do I want it out? Yes. But your question was, do I want Donald Trump going down there? No, I want Donald Trump in New Hampshire or Pennsylvania or Michigan or anywhere outside of the swamp.
Well, Congressman, I've got a job for you, another one on top of it all. We'll talk after the broadcast. Congressman